They built their homes on land that was never theirs. 35 houses rose on stolen soil, white picket fences standing like teeth in a smile that mocked its true owner. But beneath that earth, hidden from their sight, was a power they had never imagined, and the man they had wronged held the key. The land stretched wide and fertile, bordered by a quiet river that shimmered under the sun. For generations, it had belonged to Elijah Carter, a black man whose family had worked and bled on that soil long before deeds and papers meant anything. The river fed his crops, and the dam he had built with his own hands stood like a guardian, holding back the floodwaters with patient strength. But patience, Elijah knew, could be mistaken for weakness. When the Homeowners Association arrived, an eager group of developers and wealthy suburban transplants, they did not see Elijah as a landowner. They saw him as an obstacle. Meetings turned to threats, and threats turned to action. Within a year, 35 houses stood where his fields once lay. They called it Riverside Meadows. To Elijah, it was nothing but theft dressed in brick and paint. He tried the courts, but doors closed faster than they opened. Paperwork issues, they said. Outdated claims. The truth was sharper. The color of his skin made his voice weigh less than ink on their contracts. Respect was demanded of him, but never given. For months he watched. The families moved in, children laughed in driveways, and barbecues sent smoke curling into the sky. They spoke of community pride, of a bright future, never once acknowledging the man who sat at the edge of it all, his farmhouse shadowed by their shining new fences. But Elijah had something they did not know. The river, his river, was no mere decoration. The dam he had built as a young man was more than a wall of stone. It was a promise of control. Every drop of water that touched Riverside Meadows passed first through his hands. One summer evening, as twilight bled across the horizon, Elijah stood by the dam. His calloused hands traced the lever, the weight of generations pressing upon him. To let the water go was to release years of frustration, injustice, and disrespect. Yet his heart warred with itself. Good men do not destroy, but what of men denied justice? What of men stripped of dignity? He closed his eyes and heard the voices of his father and grandfather, men who had tilled the soil long before Riverside Meadows had a name. Land remembers, they seemed to whisper. It knows its true keeper. With a steady breath, Elijah pulled. The flood came silent at first, a whisper, then a roar. Water surged over fields and foundations, swallowing manicured lawns and polished decks. Panic spread as families scrambled, their perfect lives reduced to chaos in minutes. Lights flickered, shouts rang, and the suburbs' false security crumbled beneath the river's fury. But Elijah did not smile. He did not gloat. His eyes were heavy, burdened by the weight of what he had done. In the aftermath, when the waters receded, the houses were ruined. Reporters swarmed, insurance companies balked, and whispers spread through the county. Yet when investigators traced the flood back to Elijah's dam, they found something startling. The mechanism had collapsed from age, rusted through after decades of strain. Or so the records claimed. Elijah never confirmed, never denied. He sat on his porch, silent, as officials stamped the land unfit for redevelopment. The homeowners scattered, their claims washed away as surely as their property. What had once been Riverside Meadows became Carter's land again. Wild, untamed, and waiting. Justice had not come through courts or councils. It had come through nature, or perhaps through the unseen hand of a man too long disrespected. In town, some called it tragedy, others called it fate. But those who looked into Elijah's eyes saw something deeper. Not triumph, but truth. Respect is not taken. It is owed. And injustice, like water, will always find its way through the cracks. They built their dreams on stolen ground, believing power made them untouchable. But land remembers. And when justice finally came, it came not with gavel or gun, but with the river's unrelenting flow.